Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we're back with another BFDI What If. Today's What If is BFB What If 4 never hosted. Now this timeline would have changed a bunch of things. Anyways, let's get started. So this is right after IDFB has just ended, and I've seen a comment on who they think would host, and they said 9 would have hosted. However, I don't think that would happen, considering that none of the Algebralians would have ever been to Goiki, or Earth, or whatever the planet is called that they're on. However, I feel like Jack and Jellyfy has theorized a host before. That being seen in Teapot 15, voiced by Jack's films, the VR headset character that we don't know too much about. So I feel like Tennis Ball and Golf Ball will be discussing what happened in IDFB, and then suddenly the new host would appear. VR headset would talk to the two and discuss, well, a plot twist in the series. During the events of IDFB, VR headset has been watching them and knows that they want to do a new competition because they're fairly bored. So VR headset proposes a new season with everybody involved. The only thing is, he knows that this is going to take a long time to do, so we will have double eliminations just like in Teapot. And for what the prize for the season would be, I feel like it would be either you get to own Yo-Yo City or you get to own Goiki. So this will have the contestants wanting to compete. Now, who is all here by now? Well, we've seen in BFB1 who is all here, but the only thing is, Loser's not here. Or at least not yet, because BFB1 was a little bit after IDFB, and I don't think we'd be there yet. But let's just add Loser in, just because we don't want to have him left out, and Purple Face would not be the best contestant, because then him and Yellow Face would just have the Fiery and Coiny thing from Season 1. But now we must move on to team picking. In this season, I feel like there would be 8 teams of 8, as 8 times 8 is 64. So, let's see how those teams would be. Pencil, Match, and Bubble would try to form Free Smart again, as they have no reason to form any other team at this given time. And so they'd ask Book, Ruby, and Ice Cube if they want to join. And I feel like Ruby would instantly join. Book and Ice Cube are a different case. But if I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure how the Pencil would have been by now. I'm not sure if they would have wrote her to be aggressive or not. But given her acts in IDFB, I would assume so only Ruby would be joining in. Book and Ice Cube would not join. But now this leaves Pencil thinking back to BFDIA. I feel like she would be willing to ask Needle to join. But given that Needle doesn't really like Free Smart that much, I feel like she wouldn't join. But Nickel would obviously join. Nickel has expressed his love for Free Smart before, so I feel like he would join now. Really now, all they have to do is ask their friend. Match knows Fiery, so Match would ask Fiery, and I feel like Fiery would think about it and then eventually end up joining. But now, Free Smart only has 2 spots left. I feel like Fiery would get Gelatin on Free Smart, considering that they were on the team before. And here's where I think they would start writing it to be a bit more comedic. I feel like Bracelety would be the last person to join Free Smart, assuming that Bracelety would think that Ice Cube had already joined. But unfortunately for Bracelety, Ice Cube isn't in the team, and now, well, Bracelety is in a team without Ice Cube. How sad. Then Golf Ball and Tennis Ball would try to form a team, and their strategy is to get all the electronical contestants on their side. So I feel like they would get TV, Robot Flower, and Roboti on their side. Golf Ball would then spot Remote and get Remote on the team as well. Golf Ball would then lack the amount of arms on the team, so I feel like Golf Ball would invite Block and Fries on the team. And I have a feeling that try to resist, but at the end I feel like they'd both end up joining accidentally. And now Leafy will try to make a team. Of course she's gonna ask people that need the most help. So who will those people be? Alright, you guys can see who's on Leafy's team. But one question you might be asking is, why is 8-Ball here? Well, I feel like Leafy would see that 8-Ball having no limbs, and given that Golf Ball team is full, I feel like 8-Ball would be encouraged to join Leafy's, in which, well, I guess there was no better option at the time, so 8-Ball is on Leafy's team. Also, Belle would join this team because of her major disadvantage of being attached to a string. Alright, this team would mostly just be a team that mostly stumbled from people not wanting to be on a different team. Like, for example, Dora would never want to be on the same team as David, so she would have joined this team instead to avoid that. Same with Book and Ice Cube. They joined this team so they wouldn't have to join with Free Smart. Anyways, you can see the team and it's all girls. For those wondering if Death Pact would still form, I still do think they would, but it'll probably be brought up in a much different way. Anyways, not all the same Death Pact members will join, which gives us this team. Well, since Free Smart's trying to make a comeback, I guess Wool Bunch deserves to make a comeback as well, which leaves us with this team. Some of these members just randomly stumbled in here trying to avoid other things, or they were just interested. The losers would still try to form, but with these members this time. Alright, so the origin of the last team would be Eraser and Pen trying to team together, I guess also with Snowball. But given that Blocky's on a different team, they can't partner up with him. But 2 is better than 0, I guess. Anyways, other people would have not been in a team yet, which makes this team very awkward, considering that Eraser and Teardrop would have a rivalry this whole season. Anyways, let's get into the first episode. So these are the teams of BFB 1, and I'm not even sure this series would be called BFB still, but you know what, we'll keep the name just for simplicity's sake. Now I'll explain why all the team names are picked. Free Smart again is there because, well, they are Free Smart, and this is the second time that team is formed, technically. A better name than that, I feel like, would keep the same name as in canon. Same with Death Pact, the losers, and 7 name. Teardrop would be the team name on that team because, well, I feel like it would be another accidental name with Eraser and Teardrop being in a feud. Blat is simply because Rocky would accidentally choose the team name. And Wool Bunch again is because, well, Free Smart again is here, so they figured, let's bring the bunch back together. Anyways, let's see what the contest is. Now remember, 2 teams will be up for elimination because this season is now a double elimination season. Because I feel like they would do that simplistically because they don't want the season to go on for too long. Anyways, I feel like most teams would do fairly well. Except for Blah, who I feel would definitely lose due to the lack of useful characters. What other team will lose? It would be very close between Free Smart again and Teardrop, but I think that the rivalry between Teardrop and Eraser will cause their team to lose. Alright, let's see who loses on Teardrop. I feel like most members of this team would be safe. I feel like the bottom 2 would be Stapy and Yellowface. Stapy's here because Stapy is not that popular in early BFB, and Yellowface is a non-object, which would of course hinder him. But at the end of the day, I feel like Yellowface would barely be eliminated. Wanna know why I believe that? I feel like Stapy would still have somewhat of a fan base, but Yellowface, being a non-object, would be eliminated. Yeah, I won't waste any time. Leafy's definitely getting out. We all should have seen this coming with how she acts. Alright, originally in BFB 2, the challenge was to get people out of the Jawbreakers, but given that VR headset is not 4, we'll have to have a different challenge. I'm not sure what that challenge would be, but I feel like Free Smart again would be up for elimination as the first team. My reason? Well, Pencil and Match would have been just bossing the whole team around. So, yeah, it would be inevitable that they would be up for elimination. I also feel like a better name than that would be up for elimination as well, as the rest of the teams I feel like would do quite decent in a challenge. I don't feel like I should need to cover the rest of the team. We already know the bottom 2 is going to be Pencil and Matt. And given that Pencil was originally out in our timeline in BFB 2, I feel like Pencil would be eliminated here. Pencil, you're going to have to go think about what you did in the elimination place. Anyways, on to a better name than that. Alright, this elimination is going to be more hard to predict, but safe, in my opinion, is Golf Ball, Tennis Ball, Blocky, Fries, TV, and Remote. The bottom 2 is Flower and Roboti. Either could feasibly go here, but I feel like it would be Roboti that leaves. Yeah, this could have been a mix-up, and either could have feasibly gotten out, but Roboti seems more likely considering how they did in our timeline. The challenge is now to swing around a swing 50 times. I feel like 7 names would be up for elimination as they really don't have a way to do that efficiently. The losers have Lightning, but Lightning tends to forget to fly in these episodes. So I feel like 7 names and the losers will be up for elimination. First off, we got 7 names. I'll just skip to the bottom 2, and that is Lollipop and Dora. You can probably guess why Dora is here, because Dora is a non-object / joke character. While Lollipop has been rather rude, and that's bad for the audience. Overall, I think Lollipop is leaving. It's not post-split. People don't like Lollipop being this sarcastic and rude. Well, I was gonna cover the losers, but you know the result would stay the same. Losers getting out, because everybody would want to see how the team would work without Loser being here. I don't really get this reason, but it's gonna happen either way, whether we like it or not. This challenge will be different. The challenge is now to create an electronical thing. A better name than that is definitely safe, because they have both golf ball and tennis ball on their team. I doubt Free Smart again would do that well, but they will probably get a pass, maybe. Death Pack might be able to scavenge something up. I'm gonna give them the pass. Honestly, I don't see Teardrop being able to make anything unless, well, Teardrop makes something, and there would be constant fighting. So, if I'm gonna be honest, I feel like Bleh and Teardrop are gonna be up for elimination here. Yeah, let's be honest. The bottom 2 is David and Woody, and David's definitely getting eliminated here. It's not even close. And obviously, I feel like Eraser would get out on Teardrop, because Eraser is really the only thing holding together the whole arc with Teardrop, and I feel like the viewers would get Eraser in a bad light there. So they're both going to be eliminated. For the last challenge of this video, they will be flying on paper airplane. Anyways, let's be honest. The writers would obviously make Death Pact and Wobunch again lose, because why would they make more teams have 6 members when Death Pact and Wobunch again haven't lost a single member yet? It just doesn't make sense why they wouldn't put them up. Alright, on Death Pact, I'll skip to the bottom 2 being Pie and Lie. I know that Lie originally got out, but these are different circumstances here. I feel like Lie would be an open team member willing to win the challenge, and Pie would be more reluctant. But it would probably be down to a very close vote, but I see Pie leaving in this timeline, and Lie barely survived. Hi Lie, bye Pie. Alright, on Wobunch again, I believe the bottom 2 would be Fanny and Needle. Fanny, because Fanny's just a main character, and that's all that Fanny really has at this point. And Needle because, well, Needle's just a background character in this. But, if I'm gonna be honest, I feel like Fanny barely survives. Needle's just too boring, but at least Fanny could have a fan base to save him somewhat. And this would be a very close vote too, I'd imagine. Alright, these are the teams as of BFB 5 or 6, or whatever you want to say. This is the end of this part. I'll probably do this in, like, a bunch of different parts where it's just 5 episodes, as I feel like I could have a bit to narrate over in these episodes. I could do more, I could do less. You never know. Anyways, I hope you guys liked this What If. This is going to be a multi-part What If, as you just heard. And make sure to like and subscribe, and also check out my main channel, where I create animations and like object shows. My main show, Alien Guy. So make sure to check the description, and if you wanna, check out that channel, and goodbye.